Okay, let's look at more examples of when we have equations, whether or not it's a function. Okay, so let's start with 2x plus y equals 6. So what are you going to do to figure out if this is in fact a function or just a relation? Well, there's a ton of things you can do, all right? Regardless of where you start, you have to isolate y first. All right, so what do I mean by isolate y? That's math speak, forget y by itself. So if I want y by itself, that means I need to move this 2x term right here. And how am I going to move it? By subtraction. And then I have my plus 6. All right, so notice this says that y equals negative 2x plus 6. So when I plug in an x, any number I want, I can plug in the national debt. How many y's am I going to get? Well, guys, I'm going to get one y. All right? How else could you figure this out? Well, for starters, some of you may look at this and say, hey, that's in the form y equals mx plus b, and so I know it's a line. And that's a b, like the letter. And some of you are going to say, hey, that's a line. I know that a line is a function. It passes the vertical line test. Okay, what's another way we could figure this out? Well, we can graph it, and you guys can use your calculators for this. All right, I have a y-intercept of 6, and my slope is negative 2. We will learn more about how to do this quickly very shortly probably next week. All right, so all right, and give me one more point here, and this is a fast sketch here of this line. This is roughly my line, and we can see that anywhere I draw a vertical line, I'm only going to touch my line once. Okay, so that's one example of something that, yes, this is a function. Okay, let's consider a different example. All right, let's look at x squared plus y squared equals 1. All right, is this a function? Well, again, what did I say is step 1? Isolate y. Right? All right, so I'm going to isolate y. I'm going to subtract that x squared, and I have plus 1. All right, well, guys, I have a y squared over here. I want this to say y equals something. I want y by itself. Right now, that darn y is squared. How can I get rid of the square? And hopefully all of you at this point are thinking, hey, we have the square root for that. Yes, I'm going to square root both sides, which undoes the y squared, and I get the square root on the right. Is there anything that I've left out in front of the square root? And again, I hope you all are like nodding crazily going, hey, 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 yeah, we're missing the plus minus. All right, and so now, what is this saying? This says that for any x I plug in, again, we can plug in something crazy like the national debt if we want, we are getting how many y's? We're getting 2 y's. So 1x gives us 2 y's. Is this a function? No. This is not a function. All right, how could I figure this out? All right, and let's see here. All right, give a little graphing background, and I'm just going to give us a little axis. All right, we'll learn a little bit more about this in the future, but this equation, x squared plus y squared equals 1, is a circle centered at the origin with a radius of 1. All right, is this a function? Well, you can see that if I draw a vertical line, I'm intersecting my graph more than once. In fact, in 2 places. And so the fact that if I draw a vertical line, meaning my x is fixed, then I'm going to intersect my circle in 2 spots, which confirms what I'm saying right here. 1x gives us 2y's.